Hello, IceCat fans, and happy Friday! Thank you for tuning in to this this is our very first episode of the Roar Report. I haven't even given it a title yet. Podcast, video, series, whatever. Anyway, thank you for hopping on, for taking time to listen. We are going to try to get this started as a fairly regular segment. Still trying to feel this out and see what might work best, how we can best provide a different form of content for everybody to listen to besides just the articles and the player write-ups that we've been doing. So, yeah, we will see where this one goes. Try to modify and adjust and try to just give you all something new and fun to enjoy. So, no surprise, biggest thing on the docket for this weekend is the series against Columbus. IceCats are currently down in Columbus, Georgia, getting ready to face the River Dragons. Meanwhile, all eyes are on, well, I guess if you're a Pee Dee fan, one eye needs to obviously be on the Pee Dee Columbus game, but the other is going to be on the Athens-Monroe matchup taking place in Monroe tonight. That game you can catch if you want to watch both. The Monroe game will be streaming on YouTube at Monroe-Athens game. Will be streaming on YouTube at 8:05 Eastern, 7:05 Central. So, obviously, that has a big impact for the IceCats, whoever wins that, because whichever team between those two comes out on top. If Athens wins one regulation game, they will be crowned regular season Continental champs, which means that they will lock in the number one seed for the playoffs, which means that they will be the team that Pee Dee will face in the first round. Likewise, if Monroe is able to come away with more points than Athens, since they currently sit just 1 point below the Rock Lobsters in the standings, if they can come away with at least one regulation win and even an overtime loss, that should give them enough points to leapfrog the Lobsters and put them in first, which means that Pee Dee would face Monroe. Now, the alternative side to that is whichever team is in second is who the River Dragons are going to be playing. So, both teams in the series in Columbus this weekend have a vested interest in watching what happens between Athens and Monroe. Now, covered that because that's obviously going to have huge impacts for who Pee Dee faces next week in the playoffs. But we've got more pressing business at hand with the series tonight for Pee Dee and Columbus in Columbus. So, quick recap. IceCats coming off of a huge weekend last weekend, dropping the first game against Twin City, still keeping the Thunderbirds in the playoff mix. But Pee Dee comes back with a resounding defensive effort at the Florence Center last Saturday night, riding a 5-2 victory to clinch their very first trip to the postseason in their very first season. Can you believe, just to put this in perspective for a second, roughly this time last year, we had just heard that we were getting a hockey team. Florence was going to be getting a hockey team for the first time in almost 2 decades, had an ownership group from the FPHL come in, commissioner was here to announce the new team. We didn't even have a name yet at the time. 1 year later, look where we are. Cannot say enough to thank the ownership, all the fans, all the players who've come together to make this possible. This is just an incredible dream come true. And to be able to make the playoffs in the first year, that's just fantastic. So, could not be happier to be a Pee Dee fan. Thrilled to be where we are right now. So, with the win against Twin City, that puts Pee Dee firmly locked in place for the playoffs. But they're going to be in the 4th spot. They're not going to be moving up. They're not going to be moving down. Not enough time to gain ground on Columbus to try to move into that 3rd seed. They are where they are. Likewise, for the River Dragons, they are locked into the 3rd spot. They don't have enough time to try to leapfrog Monroe. They don't have to worry about falling behind Pee Dee. So these two teams this weekend, as they face one another, movement is not a concern for them. There's not going to be any changes between their There are not going to be any changes. Sorry, let me rephrase this. Changes that they can make to impact their opponent for the first round of the playoffs. That's all out of their hands. It's only going to come down to whoever wins between Athens and Monroe. Or, I'm sorry, I should say whoever has the most points after the series between Athens and Monroe. So where does that put us as we head into this series between Columbus and Pee Dee? At this point, neither team, like I just mentioned, can impact their playoff chances or destination. So what's the game plan? Do you want to take time to let some of your younger guys get some experience, rest some of your older veteran players, give them a chance to heal up, take a week to rest? Do you put some of the college signees in the game? Do we get to see Gage Reamer play in goal at least one game? It'd be really cool to see him, actually. It would be kind of fun. Likewise for Columbus. Do they take the same tack? Do you try to let some of the guys rest up? Do you not play as aggressively? Do you play harder to try to keep some momentum up before the playoffs come in? You know, I'm not really sure. It'll be very interesting to find out. As a fan, I'm happy to just see the IceCats play 1 week in, 1 week out. But it will be interesting to see the approach that Coach Graham takes as we head into the last weekend of the regular season. So we quickly touched base on where Pee Dee has been. What about Columbus? They are not too far off in our recent memories. As many of you will recall, just a few weeks ago, we had a 3-game series against them here at the Florence Center, in which the IceCats swept the River Dragons across all 3 games. Huge series for Pee Dee to be able to make it to the playoffs. That was an absolutely instrumental stretch of games for the team to be able to make enough points to put some very much needed distance between them and the Twin City Thunderbirds to move into the place where they could clinch that 4th seed. However, the River Dragons, they were locked into the 3rd spot, really had no concerns about moving. Whew. But boy, they had a tough stretch of games even after playing Pee Dee. Out of their next 5 games, they faced Athens once and then Monroe 4 times. They did take care of business with Athens in the very first game that they faced after the IceCats. They beat them 5-1. However, after that 5-1 victory against Athens, in the next 4 games, straight 4 games against Monroe, Columbus only ended up winning 1, and that 1 victory was at home in overtime. So, pretty tough stretch still for the River Dragons. If you add all of their last 8 games together, out of their last 8, they've only had 2 victories. 3 losses to Pee Dee, 3 losses to Monroe, and then the 1 win against Athens, the 1 win against Monroe. So 2-6 record out of their last 8 games coming to this game. That's a pretty beat down group. Now, that being said, the series against Columbus and Pee Dee so far this season has been pretty even. Pee Dee currently holds a 6-5 margin against the River Dragons. Pee Dee's won 6 games. River Dragons have won 5. So there's very much a possibility here that one of these teams is going to be able to come out, well, one of these teams will be able to come out with the lead in the regular season series. We'll find out after Saturday who ends up getting that. One other unique tidbit that I wanted to share about the River Dragons in regards to playoffs also involves the Rock Lobsters. So, interestingly, the River Dragons defeated the Rock Lobsters 5-1 a couple weeks back. During last year's playoffs, Athens and Columbus squared off in the first round. Athens had a great year. First year in the FPHL, they had big plans for, obviously making a deep playoff run. Great team, ready to roll. Series goes 3 games because, as you know, the first series in the playoffs, first and second series are best of 3. Both teams split the first 2 games, but Columbus comes back and defeats Athens in game 3 to send the Rock Lobsters home in the very first round of the playoffs. You know good and well that Athens has that in the back of their mind as they head towards the postseason. They do not want to see a repeat of that. You know just how talented, how physical, how deep this Rock Lobster squad is. They're going to be primed and ready for a playoff run. And if by chance Athens ends up gaining or falling to second place against Monroe, and Monroe gets the first seed in the Continental, it's going to make for a very interesting matchup between the River Dragons and the Rock Lobsters in the first round of the playoffs, considering the history between those two teams from last season. I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode, first time around. Like I said, we're going to try to figure out how best to move forward with this, what kind of content we want to include. Might sprinkle in a few different topics, especially as we head into the summertime and try to figure out what kind of content we can include when there's not any hockey going on live. But thank you very much for tuning into this first episode. I'm excited to see what we can bring you in the future. And yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend, and let's go IceCats.